In my last video, I talked about the power of exercise as an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, but fundamentally, forgetting about mental health, fundamentally, your body needs to exercise. It was made to move around. You were made to move around and exercise. When people go into a coma for 6 months, they only stay alive from feeding and whatnot. They come back and their body is just horrible. They need physical therapy. Their body is so weak. Nothing against them personally, but their bodies have deteriorated because they haven't been used. And in high school, I spent a couple years not really exercising, thinking I didn't need to. Whatever, I'm healthy, I'm skinny, I don't really need to. Lost a lot of weight, felt horrible, mentally, physically. But personally, doesn't really matter. Anyone can exercise. Just move around, do little things. Increase how much you move around every day by a little bit, slowly, and I promise you, you'll feel better. But everyone knows that exercise is good for you, and they just don't want to do it as much. But no one can really fully understand the positive effects of a lot of exercise unless you do it. It's just something that you can't fully explain with words, as opposed to having that feeling yourself. For example, with marijuana and alcohol, you can say that when you use it, you feel a little woozy, lightheaded, dizzy. But that doesn't fully encompass the feelings of either of them. And you could talk about them for hours, and you still wouldn't fully understand the feeling of marijuana or alcohol as much as someone who has used it more than 5 times or so. It's because experience just tells you things that sometimes words are not sufficient for. I think so often we think that we can fully understand things with words, but sometimes you would need pages and pages of words to fully describe something, and pretending like you fully understand things that you understand a little bit is a good way to stop learning. And when you stop learning, life's no fun. I've never felt happier than these last few months, where I've seen that there are so many parts of life that we can still learn from, and so much that we don't know. You think that science has figured everything out? We're still discovering things like tiny particles in our atoms that are like 70% of matter or something. I don't know. I'm making stuff up, but neutrinos are an example of that. If you if you do care about that stuff, but things we've discovered in the last few hundred years that have just been around us in plain sight, but we just can't really see them or understand them. All this to say, we don't understand shit. And that's why I named this channel Embrace Ignorance, because we know nothing. We know absolutely nothing. We are limited by our brains and our bodies, and we can always learn more. The smartest people, I think, got there because they just never stop learning, and they're still learning, and their curiosity is their most valuable trait. Their curiosity for understanding, and deep understanding, and